What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be creating this customizable song poster to put in my Etsy shop. If you'd like to visit my Etsy shop, it's down in the description below. I'm going to be starting this in Adobe Illustrator and then moving it over to Photoshop to finish up the final effects. Before we get started, just a reminder to hit like and subscribe at the bottom and also click the bell for notifications. It'll tell you every time I upload a new video. Now let's get started. Okay, so I'm here in Illustrator, and this poster is actually going to be an update to one that I used to have in my shop, but I no longer have the master files for. I don't know what happened to them. I did have a hard drive crash a while ago, so it is possible that they just got lost in that. Let me turn on my key casting for anybody who might be following along with doing something like this. So I'm going to just enlarge this right here just so I can get a good feel of what we're going to be doing. Like I said, I'm going to be changing a couple of things, but I'll just go ahead and get started here. So my document is actually 18 by 24 inches, and we do account for bleeds there as well. There's going to be like an eighth of an inch bleed all the way around the entire edges of the poster itself. So the reason I choose 18 by 24 is so that if anybody wants to get multiple of these, which I have had people do in the past, then we can do like a series of them, and that way they're not taking up so much space. But the the 18 by 24 can be scaled down to 12 by 16, and then also 9 by 12. So that's kind of a good size to start at. So I'm gonna just kind of move this down here. And the song that I'm going to be using today is going to be Ribs by Lord. And I'm actually going to be using this font. I've never used this font before. I just saw it on Adobe Fonts this morning, and it's called Hero New. And I just really like it, so I want to give it a shot. And right now I just want to structure kind of how everything is going to go. One thing that I'd like to do is I'd like to add like a border around the image itself. So the image is actually going to come in a little bit. I'm not sure how much, but we're just going to kind of do this real quick. And I'm going to copy and paste in front. And I'm going to do a stroke on that. And I'd like it to start at 1.5 inches. I'd like the margin to be at 1.5 inches, actually, because I feel like 1 inch isn't enough, and 2 inches is too much. So I'm just going to split the difference. And let's push all the way to the edge here, and then we'll bring this in by 1.5 inches. And this right here, the song title is actually down 1.5 inches as well. So I'm just going to move this down maybe 1 inch down. I think that looks good, or maybe a little bit less, maybe you know what, we'll just go 1/2 inch. Okay, so that's good. And so now we're going to bring this up here, and I'd like the space around it to be about 1/2 inch all the way around. And then we go all the way up to here, and then bring this in by 1/2 inch and go here. I'd like for the image to be not necessarily a square, but I'd like it to be maybe a little bit taller than it is wide. So 14 by 15 inches maybe. We obviously don't want to get too much into the space where the artist, the album, and the lyrics are going to be. So let's kind of go up to here and then add 1/2 inch. I think that looks good. And then so the song title itself is going to be probably, actually I just realized I should have accounted for that, but the song title itself, I would like it to be probably just bold, not like crazy bold or anything like that, but just regular bold should be fine. Or maybe, let's see, what is well, I think I might go extra bold for the song title. I think that'll work just fine. And then I'm just going to copy this over here and change to align right. Push this up against here. And now we're going to move down 1/2 inch. And then this right here is actually the track number. So I think that we can, and the track number for Ribs is 4. And I think that actually is pretty good, but I think I might actually bring it down maybe to 40 points. I think that looks good. And I think, so in before, it looks like they're actually the same size, but I think I'm just gonna do this and then keep the same baseline as well. And let's get the track length of the song Ribs from Lord. Let's see, Pure Heroine. There we go. Track listing, Ribs, 418. Okay, good. Okay, and for the actual track length, I think I'm going to go down to maybe 20 point. And now that I look at this, I may actually align all of it to the vertical center, just because we've got those two pieces of text next to each other that are very different in size. And let's see how they look. I think I may actually push it out a little bit more. I think 1/2 inch is a little bit too close. Okay, and then as far as those little dots go, I don't really know if they're necessary. So I may... What if I did this? It's a little bit better, but I just wonder if it would be better if we just put it right in the center. Of course, the problem with that is that, you know, Ribs is a very short song title, so not all song titles are going to be that short. You might have something that is a lot longer, and then you have to adjust for that. So I think that I'm going to just do this, and maybe just leave this over here and not do those little squares right there. I don't think that they're necessary. And at one point, I was actually customizing those squares to match like the color palette of the song and everything. And no one ever really said anything about it, so I don't think that I just don't think it's necessary. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. All right. So now let's see. Our song title is in 60, and then we'll go down to 40 for the artist. So in this case, it's gonna be Lord. Oops. Okay. And let's do this. I want to create my text box for the lyrics, and of course we want them to be -1.5 inches. Oh, sorry, at least for the vertical axis. 1.5 right there, and there obviously needs to be enough space to house all of the lyrics. So let's maybe take it down by... let's add another 1/4 inch to this, and I think that's good. Okay. All right, I think that's good right there. That should be enough to house lyrics. You know, like we can make them whatever size we want to. And I'd like to add, you know, like maybe something a little bit ornamental on these corners right here. And let's just make them a nice, I think an eighth is good. Let's send that over there. Good. And then we'll do the same thing down here. And holding option while I drag down will make a copy for me. Perfect. Okay. And then let's go ahead and move over the album title. So basically what we're doing here is we're just creating a structure. So the album title is Pure Heroine. Track number 4, song length. You know what? The only thing that is missing here, I think that I might add maybe a vertical pipe right there, and then the year of the album's release. And then also, I think I'm gonna take this down to maybe like medium, and we could even decrease the size of the artist and the album itself. So let's push this up to here where we can visually see that, and then maybe push it down 1/2 inch. That way we know we're exactly 1/2 inch from that bottom line, and then move this up to the right to the baseline, and then take away 1/2 inch. Okay, good. All right, so, and I think I'm gonna actually leave that that horizontal line out. All right, so let's go get the lyrics for ribs, not rubs, ribs. So copy all of those, come over here into Sublime. We can close this out. I don't need that anymore. Okay. So what we're doing here in Sublime, if you happen to have Sublime Text Editor, what we're doing is you want to make sure that this regular expression is actually checked. And what this is doing is it's finding every new line and it's replacing it with a single space. So we're going to hit replace, and we're going to replace all of those occurrences. And then after this is done, I just like to go in and make sure that it did get everything that I wanted it to get. So just do a find and then put in 2 spaces. And if it says unable to find, then that means that you're good as far as all the spaces go. So this is all now one single line of text, which we can now put into our box. So select the box, go to type the area type tool, click in the top left corner, and then hit paste. And we'll just go optical for this, and probably for the lyrics, I'm going to go all caps. And I'm also going to do justify all lines, just something you typically don't want to do, but what we do here is we actually adjust them to make sure that that everything looks good and that nothing is stretched. So this right here, I'm just going all the way until it is perfectly on the bottom line right there. I think we can probably go up to 0.25. May even be able to go up to 0.3. So there's definitely some adjusting that takes place every time I put in a new song here. So now let's bring the tracking up or down, I guess. Okay, so now it perfectly fits into that space. Good. All right, so here's everything in terms of the overall layout. We have everything here. We've got the song title, we've got the track length, track number, the artist name, the album name, and the year of the release, and then also all the lyrics. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna actually select everything except for this black box right here, and you'll see why in just a minute. Actually, before I do this, let me select these and these little circles right here. Group them all together. Let me make sure that everything got grouped the way that I needed it to. Okay, so we just got to release that. Oh, why did I do that? The pain of selection. Okay, good. So we should have everything, and then make sure that all. Nope, that's not gracious. Okay, try this without the song title. Perfect. Good. Okay, that's everything. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything here except for that black box, and let's go over to Photoshop. All right, so we're right here in Photoshop, and this document is actually, it is an 18 by 24 right now, but I'm going to change it to 18 1/4 to 24 1/4 so that we have that extra edge for the bleed whenever it does get printed. So we're going to paste it as a smart object, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select everything and copy this over and also paste this as a smart object, and you'll see why in just a second. Now I'm going to go back and get just the black box. So now I'm going to paste the black box, and I'm going to line it up to exactly where that needs to be. So that's why we have everything in here. Let's see. Just move this down. For some reason it's not moving. There we go. Perfect. And I just want to line it up exactly to where it needs to go. Okay, so now we can delete all of that, the layer that has everything. Okay, so we're going to call this vector smart object layer all info. And then this one right here is going to be the space holder for the photo. So that way we can keep the photo separated from the rest of the information. Now for the image that I'm going to be using for this one is going to be this adorable picture right here. So we're going to copy the image. If you know anything about this song, then this image, I feel it perfectly illustrates what's actually going on in the lyrics of the song. So I've created a mask out of that object. So now that image is going to stay inside of that mask. Okay, so I'm just going to push it down here, and I think that that's a really good focal point right there. Now we're pretty much done, and everything is editable. Let's see if they've actually fixed this yet. They haven't, but it's fine. I can always just save a separate Illustrator file. But basically, ever since upgrading to High Sierra, I'm unable to click on a vector smart object layer to go into Illustrator to make those edits and then save them and come back to Photoshop. I really hope they fix that soon, because this is what I do. Like, I actually work with smart objects all the time, so I really hope that they fix that soon. Adobe. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna add a couple of just a couple of minimal layer effects and things like that. For this particular image, I'm actually pretty happy with the image overall. I want to avoid having to go in and edit each image as I do this, because I want to try to avoid having my personal preferences showing in every single one of these photos, and I want to, I want to create something that's a little bit more of a system that's universal, that actually works with everything that I put in. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at some effects that I can apply to this. All right, so I'm going to go into my documents, design resources, and I usually do some kind of I find something in patterns and overlay, and it's really just to kind of give it a little bit more of like a paper look. But for something like this, I want it to look maybe slightly aged, because this is kind of like a mid-century type of style. So so those kind of effects can really lend themselves to completing the look of this. So I think that I'm going to go with something like this. These are a little bit cleaner as far as their effects go, but I want something that has like a slight sepia to it. This is definitely too rough and too worn. Something like this is maybe a little bit better, so I'll keep that one in mind. As I'm looking through all of these right here, this one's actually pretty cool, but I can easily take out that middle line right there. I don't think that I'm too wild about that for this particular project. All right, so let's go in, but I do like the overall look of the paper. All right, so let's go in here, and we'll hold down Shift to make sure that it covers everything. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and get rid of that crease right there, and I'm actually using the spot healing brush to get rid of that, so it just goes across all of that and finds where the crease is and just gets rid of the crease. So, but everything else I'm totally fine with. All right, so now what we're gonna do, since we've enlarged it a pretty good amount, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add in a little bit of like grain filters to kind of cover up some of those artifacts that are left behind from enlarging. But I'm gonna look at my blending modes right here and just kind of see what works best. I really like darken, that looks really good. Darken, however, doesn't really apply to the image itself. Like you can see some of these little speckles and everything, but I'm not a big fan of how it's applying to the image and to the actual background. So multiply is a little bit better, although it's a little bit strong with that texture. So I think that we may try to find some kind of a middle ground. Most of the time, overlay does a pretty good job. Soft light also does a good job. And let's see, sometimes difference is good, but you have to invert it. Divide is interesting, but it's definitely not what I'm going for. So I think that I may actually go with multiply, and then for something like this, I may duplicate the layer, hide this one, and then maybe just in this area go in and erase the areas on the face, and then maybe take our flow down to about 25%, so we're not getting too much of that. But I just don't want those. Well, let's see, it's not really doing exactly what I want it to do. Let me try to find a different one, something that's not quite as rough. These these paper overlay images are huge, so sometimes previewing these sucks. Okay, so I think this is good. Right here we'll do like this, this is called cold pressed off-white. I think this might actually work a little bit better for what we're doing. So let's bring this over into our file. We'll delete the old one. Center it, rotate it, and then fill it. It's looking good. Oops, trying to zoom in. Okay, there we go. All right, so, all right, this is already looking so much better. Like, we've got the texture on her face and on the rest of the image and everything, but it doesn't look like it's, you know, like it doesn't look bad like the other one did. So that's good. And it looks like we are not actually centered, so let's do that. Good. Multiply is probably going to be the best effect here, but we'll see what the other ones do. Linear burn is interesting. I like that one. And one thing that we need to do is I'd like to add in a solid color background with maybe just a little bit, the ever so slightest amount of this yellow color here. And then also maybe like 98% right here. So that way we have a little bit of that age look, but it's not too much. And also, looks like I'm gonna have to repaste everything because I didn't mean for these to be all 100% black, because I want the effect to show there too. So all I really have to do is go in here to this, and we'll change all of just the color right here to where it's not 100% black, but it's still pretty dark, but I want it to be able to pick up the effects. Okay, so now we'll go back and we'll align, delete that one. Okay, much better. So now if you look at it 100% view, then you can actually see that the effects, oops, I didn't mean to do that. There we go. You can actually see that the effects are in there. So it's a subtle little thing, but it's definitely something that you want to do. And so I am liking this overall. And I think that I'm also going to add in, just to give it a little bit more realism, I'm going to go in and do a Gaussian blur on all of the info, and maybe I like 1.5. I think that's good. That way we're still, like, it's all still legible and everything, but the text doesn't look so, you know, perfect, you know, like crystal clear, too clean or anything like that. So I think this is looking good. And then the last thing that I want to do is add in just a touch of grain, and I think I will actually add a vignette to this. So we're going to go into the camera raw filter, maybe some grain about 50, and then take this down to 25, and the size also down to 25, and maybe the vignette down to like a -20, something like that, to where it's not too, you know, like it's just real subtle. Interesting effect there. Divide is definitely blowing everything out, so looks like we're gonna have to just stick to maybe overlay, which is fine actually. I just want it to be, you know, I want it to be very subtle. Okay, and then sometimes I like to add a second layer of noise directly underneath the grain, and we'll see how that looks. Maybe like 10%, something like that. Doesn't have to be anything too crazy, but it can just really kind of help to give it a little bit more of an aged look and cover up some of those artifacts. So this is looking good. I like this. Okay. So I think I'm done actually. So I really do like this this updated version of this custom song poster. So basically what you can do is, if you have a favorite song, you know, let me know what it is. I can go in and I can either find an image for it, or if you have an image that you'd like to use for it, then you can send it over to me. Also, I got this image from Unsplash. Unsplash.com has tons and tons of images. I'll actually link it down in the description for you. But yeah, so this is the updated custom song poster, and I hope you like it. All right, well, thanks a lot for watching me update my custom song poster. That is available through my Etsy shop, and that's down in the description below. If you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button, and also click the bell for notifications to be updated on all future content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.